So I decided to do some research on resiliency and what makes students who come from homes riddled with drugs, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, and all of these type of things, you know? So I wanted to know, what is it that's making those kids bounce back? I knew what it was for me when I was growing up, and what, even though I dropped out of high school, I knew that connecting with a family, I connected with a family in the community, and I connected with the church. And I believe that's what saved me, because I'm the only member of my family that's done anything. Junior high, I decided to do some research on resiliency and what makes students who come from homes riddled with drugs, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, and all of these type of things, you know? So I wanted to know, what is it that's making those kids bounce back? I knew what it was for me when I was growing up, and what, even though I dropped out of high school, I knew that connecting with a family, I connected with a family in the community, and I connected with the church. And I believe that's what saved me, because I'm the only member of my family that's done anything that's productive. So what I did was I started acting out in school. Junior high was a wash. I was there in body only. But when two teachers, where I excelled in junior high, it was in related arts, when we had dance, home economics, things that you do with your hands, creative things, art, and in science. My gym teacher was the only person that challenged me. She said, if you do one report for me, I will give you an A for the class, because I was a hell raiser. You looked at me the wrong way, I was fighting you. But I did not know what was going on with me. I couldn't express it like our kids can express it. We did some research on Garmarzi, who did a longitudinal study. When Garmarzi did his longitudinal study, he did his study to find out what made children of schizophrenic families resilient. But what he found out along the way was children from poverty families were being resilient. And so he listed the protective factors that makes children resilient. And so the protective factors that I focused on in my research had to do with caring environments and relationships. It had to do with high expectations. It had to do with accountability, student choice, culturally sensitive practices, because how in the world am I going to come into school and feel good about something, and I'm dark-skinned black, and there are no black people in my books? So I need culturally sensitive practices and material, and also the community partnerships. And when I say our children, I'm not just saying black children, I'm saying children of poverty, but more specifically black children, because we are disproportionately represented in the poverty group. Okay, so I wanted to find out, after we found out through the research about the executive function and what happens to a child from birth to 5 years old, which are very, very critical years. I wanted to find out, okay, if this is what happens to them over this 5-year period, then what in the brain is causing this to happen? And I happened upon Dr. Pamela Cantor's research. She had conducted a longitudinal study, 10 years of research on the brain and how stressors in life changes the consistency of the amygdala I'm probably not saying it correct. Am I saying it correct? Say it again. The
Medulla.
okay? But it's called the limbic system. And the limbic system holds those three main parts of the brain that impacts education. And what they found out is when the amygdala, when students receive repeated stressors, let's say that you're in a house, this child is in a house where it's constantly bickering, fighting, cursing, mother F this, F you that. That's hostile. So it's affecting the shape of her amygdala because the amygdala is growing more than the rest of the parts of that limbic system, which makes it imbalanced. And that's what causes kids to come to school not ready. I mean, I know that's a quick overview, but all of that is clearly explained in the book. And I wrote it in common enough language, I think, that you would be able to understand and share with the community how these type of environments impact the children. Environments with no books. Read to your children. Have a word of the day. Because right now in first grade, they're getting words they did not get when we were in first grade. They're coming home with 3 and 4 multiple syllabic words. And our kids are ending up in school light years behind. And we can go into all the cause and effect, but the harsh reality is here and now, we have to do something about it. We cannot rely solely upon the schools. And that's where a lot of our parents run into issues because they think that's all our job. But they're only in reading for 90 minutes. They're only in math for 90 minutes. The rest of that time, if you're not reinforcing it at home, it's like we're starting all over the next day. So it does take a village. It takes a key. It takes parents like you all. It takes children to love your education. It's very important. And it's very hard work. But you can do it. So get your education above all things. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.